Hey, Gavox here. So we have the Muttman Podcast, episode 185, with none other than MUTGuru. Guru, how you doing today?
Dude, pleasure to be in the den. Maybe I'll get an invite to the dungeon while here, maybe. I don't know. Good to see everybody though.
Lock you deep down. It's a good time. I don't see any complaints, and if I do, they get beaten until morale improves. So a lot to talk about. There's a ton. Like I kind of almost want to because a lot of people might not know you if they're like recent converts to Madden. You know what I mean? So can you explain a little bit like of your history before we get into the topics in hand?
Yeah, for sure. So I started in playing Mutt in the end of 2010. End of 2010 was downloadable content. When that was the beginning of Madden Ultimate Team, and then was super heavy into the forums. Oh my God, God bless them. The forums, the EA forums in 2012 had over 10,000 posts there, just giving feedback and it was a pretty passionate group over there, even on the forums as back then. But then social media kind of started to take over, and I created a Twitter account. The first one was not MUTGuru, but as the need grew out there for like communications, even back then in 2012, okay, there were communication issues, questions weren't getting answered and stuff like that. So I made a Twitter account named MUTGuru and tried to answer as many questions as I could. I never intended myself to be quote unquote MUTGuru. It was just kind of like a channel to answer questions about Ultimate Team. So then EA kind of reached out. They were like, "Yo, you want to come do that for us?" It kind of started as a game changer, and then was eventually invited into the company.
Nice. And it's like you were like community manager, right?
Yeah, so a lot of hats. I actually, came in as part of the dev team. I was a community manager on the dev team, a community developer, and then moved over to the communications, marketing, and community side. And but I wore a lot of hats, man. Not just community manager, but I was running all the communications. I was doing all the blogs. I was doing all the influencer stuff for Ultimate Team. And it wasn't just community back then. I know they have multiple teams doing all that stuff now. But man, I was pretty stretched thin back in those old days.
So what years were you at EA then?
2014 to 2019, 2000, late 2018, I was there as community manager, engagement strategist, communications manager. Uh, and did like I said, doing a ton of stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. How would you say like so we got a lot of issues in Mutt nowadays. And how would you say like it's almost changed? How's Mud itself changed at EA and the people at EA over those years, right? Because I feel like this game started almost like just like as a throw-in mode, but now it's like the main revenue driver of the entire franchise.
Yeah, so big shout out to the OGs in the chat if they know Josh Lumen and Donnie Moore. This was like a one-man operation back in 2010, and slowly grew to what we know it is now. And I first of all, I want to apologize to everybody here that thinks I'm going to be just bashing EA or like exposing big secrets or anything like that. I don't I'm not here to do that today. I'll definitely talk through, how things were in my time. I'm not sure how they are there, so I can't speak to how they're doing things now, but we can talk about how things were done, when I was there. And that was,
Uh huh.
a big part of that was me being part of the dev team, I think. I was sitting there with the devs where, you know, we would talk to the like through the programs months and months before they even came out. So I was bringing up community concerns, like it was like pre QA before it even got to QA. So I don't know how much of that they do now, but I know that was one of the key things that we did back then, that we were already trying to fix some things before they even came out.
Okay, so okay. I guess I'm having trouble understanding. You're saying like you were QA, but like not or like they didn't
No,
have
so
QA.
that's it. It's like pre QA. You're trying to find even things before they were there, before it even got to QA, right? And even
Okay.
raising community concerns while you're building the program, right? From the community side, just not just the dev team, right? So being part of the dev team, sitting with the dev team, I was able to, say, hey, that's, does that make sense? Oh, the community's going to hate that, before they even built out the promos. Every morning we'd meet with the dev team and those those teams. I eventually even got separated out from the dev team and worked over on the more of the marketing side of things.
Gotcha. So why do you think there's so many like issues in 23? Like I feel like okay, EA's been doing this for what 13, Madden 10 to Madden 23, 13 years. But why are things so messed up? Is it because they're constantly redlining on things? Like why okay, at least in your experience. I know you said you can't, really say now, but why? What's why is QA so rough? Why is like today, just today, they delayed Team Diamonds by 2 weeks, and now the John Elway set. Like the whole reason we do it is just not giving us John Elway.
Yeah, I mean, if at least when I was working there, when you went and applied to QA, it was kind of like the entry level position into EA, right? It was the contractor position you were getting. It was kind of a rough ride as far as even being in that job, right? So, those guys were under a lot of pressure between contracts and things like that. And, it's just you had to always kind of I was always over him. You know what I mean? I was always working with QA. And I think Kralo was big time into working with him. I wasn't there, but I saw a lot of the work that obviously Kralo did, and he was working a lot with the dev team. And I think that's a lot of the key is just keeping, the community side of things ingrained in QA and like, hey, you're doing this for, a lot of people that really, really care about this out there. Like I said, I don't know if they're doing that or not now. They could be doing that. They could be, there's a number of issues like maybe they don't have enough resources allocated to them, things like that. That could be the end of the day issue. You know what I mean? So who knows, man? It's tough. There's a lot though this year, more than usual, certainly. And yeah, like I said, I'm going through the pain points with you guys right now.
Yeah, because you're still playing Mutt, right?
Yeah, still playing mud. I got a Browns theme team that I've been running past 3 years. I got a Browns theme team, which cuts me off from a lot of the content, but I'm not grinding like you guys. But I'm still in there, kind of play the market a little bit. Still watching streams. Still obviously on Twitter. I work for
Mm-hmm.
Mudhead as the social media manager over there, so I'm still in the thick of it.
Yeah. So like, okay, I got a question. It feels like back in the day, like EA hired you, hired Kralo, hired a lot of people from the community, and especially like gameplay people like RG, for example, that a lot of people know, and others. They came from the community. But now it feels like we're getting people making Madden and the Madden Ultimate Team that come from places like fucking NBA Live. They brought over that failed team, and they brought over like other people they hired. And I got nothing against TJ or something, but like I don't think he's played Mutt before he got the job there. And he's a good guy, don't mind it, but it feels like the hire from outside the community, outside Madden, and it feels like as somebody who's really into it, they don't like understand the struggle, the grind, what's good for us, what we like anymore. Do you get a sense of that?
Yeah, well, first of all, shout out to young Conan, my guy. I feel bad for TJ out there, right? And I've messaged him a few times. I'm like, man, it's only a few people on the planet that can, know exactly what you're going through these mornings, dude. And I'm one of them. So heart goes out to he's doing exactly what EA hired him to do. You know what I mean? But he's just also out there in the figurehead and on the front
It's
lines,
been too
and
long.
catching
Take my
strays.
slice
You
of
know what I
pie.
mean? So shout out to TJ. Like you said, it's people that play the game. I think it's just important to hit having people that know the grind, know the struggle, play the game. It's a daily thing, right? Like it's not just a visit once a week or twice a week. You guys are in it eyeballs deep every single day, and that's the kind of work ethic you got to have to make it successful and be on the level with you guys. You know what I mean? And that's like you said, it's important to come from that. You know what I mean? Because that's unique. We had unique perspective, Kralo and I, I think we got some community guys in there right now that came from the community that understand, and it's just I think a lot of flow of communications, dealing with that corporate grind, dealing with the corporate levels, all timing, all lawyers, all that stuff, and I think they run into a lot of the same problems that I did, but they're probably just running in the thicker walls than I used to, So heart goes out to those guys too, because I know we got some people in there really caring. So
Yeah, because it does feel like there's a little bit more disconnect now between the community and those people at EA. And I know there's been a lot of like back and forth in community bashing EA devs and everything. And at a certain point, it's like way too far. Some people, what they say to devs, and that's probably why they've, retreated a little bit from the community because we've gotten wild at times, and that's understandable. But it definitely feels like, back in the Rex era, back when you were there, he was like, talking to people on Twitter consistently. Clint's kind of retreated
Yeah,
from Twitter.
yeah.
Like, he was doing streams. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, no, no. It's the human side, you know what I mean? That I think we did very well while we were there. You know what I mean? We A lot of the interaction was just human like, it wasn't robotic, it wasn't corporate like barking down from the tower, it was just back and forth conversation with the users and getting that feeling because we were one of them, so we wanted to be talked to like we talked to people like we wanted to be talked to. And some of the times you gotta remember back in 2013, 14, 15, this was all pretty new stuff, as far as social media, as far as community management from social media. And I was certainly new at it. I wasn't coming from anywhere of experience with it. I was coming from straight from the community as a player, and as I was a beach bum, so a lot of the things people, I did a lot of learning on the fly, a lot of things that people got mad at me for saying back at them, as far as like banter and things like that. A lot of it was came from a place of just trying to be human, trying to be, I was one of y'all and I just wasn't kind of trying to change who I was, you know what I mean? So some of it might have gotten, a little slanderous, a little out of control, but it was never it wasn't purposeful, you know what I mean? So just communication is so key, whether it's during good times, whether it's during bad times. Keeping the open channels, keeping the conversation going is just so important, and not duck diving when it's bad out there. I think that's even more important to be out there when bad things are going on.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned like certain walls between the community and EA now, and like people that like work like TJ Spot and stuff have trouble getting through that. Why do you think like that they can't get through? Why are they running into so much bureaucracy? Why are things so hard to change? And it feels so simple from our side, like, hey, this is kind of BS, right? Like there are certain things like why are some of the community like wants and needs the last few years just kind of it feels like they're ignored. It's like does the Mutt team not listen to the community or like the feedback like your team as much as like you feel like they should have? Like
So I'll
sometimes
talk.
like they're almost too
While I
too
was
arrogant.
there, we were all very close, man. We were a close team, and we all worked in the same building. The only thing that separated us was the different floors of the building. I was a very, not wait for meetings, not wait for calls, but walk to a person's desk, walk right to the the head producer's desk, and skip a lot of the email chains and a lot of that corporate ladder. And uh, you know, we ran into COVID. We ran into a building closing. They got a whole new building in downtown Orlando. So you had not only the building closed, but everybody was, out of the building for COVID for how many years, to where we had the advantage of, being pretty tight knit and in person. And I think that really was a big part of it, in my opinion. Again, I don't know the work atmosphere. I don't know how much of how close they are right now and whatnot, but it was a daily go to lunch, meet in the morning, meet in the afternoon, meet before you left every single day. And that communication was on the level between community comms and dev.
Yeah, I get you. Like, so you mentioned resources earlier. Like, I feel like there's so many errors, and like QA and whatnot is a problem. Like, I feel like they could do the set once to see that it's glitched and it's not working, like before it comes out almost. And it's strange that they wouldn't. I feel like they would have, but how do you not get that right? Like, okay, how many? Okay, I don't know if you could answer this, but how many people work for QA and for the Mutt team?
Yeah, we had like a team of five, while we were there doing QA and running through all the content before it went live, and email chains that was, hey, everything's checked off, good to go. And then, they'd push it live, and then I would announce it live on Twitter the minute it would go live. And I don't know where that's broken right now. They're implemented a lot of new things this year with Field Pass and mechanics, game mechanics they haven't had in the build of Mutt before. I mean, my thoughts just to go to what a struggle that must be, just having the new stuff in there. But again, I'm not here to make excuses for anybody. I'm just kind of giving an insight into maybe possibilities of what it could be, just from my past experience. You know what I mean? I'm not, who knows the struggles they're going through right now.
Yeah, you said five. Sorry, chat's questioning it. You said
Yep.
five for just the QA, but for the Mutt team, how big is the Mutt team itself?
It's like the teams are. It was called the Forge team, and we'd always have Cassis and Billy on. If you guys remember
Yeah, I
those
remember
guys
Billy.
back
Yeah.
in the day. Big shout out to Billy Shouts and Christian Cassis. And they'd call it the Forge team, and it was just a specific team that worked on Mutt. And I remember it being a pretty good size back then. Five only being like that's that team. Not they're not building anything or doing card art. Those are all separate teams working together. But I'd say it was a little over a dozen. I'd say was there, but it grew over time over the years that I was there. Again, man, when it started, it was a one man show. Josh Lumen was the one man doing like everything for it.
He was doing wait, he was doing card art and everything, or what?
Dude, he was doing everything. He was throwing like AP images onto the frame, putting the overall on it, doing the ratings, pushing it live. Yeah, it was like a one man operation back in 2010, 11.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Dude, I couldn't imagine, right? Seriously.
Doing
Oh
everything
my
at once, just
lord.
one dude for the entire.
And
Sorry, that's
and who knows? I don't remember errors back then, so.
yeah,
But of
that's
course, it
true.
was 5 cards a year. It was probably 5 cards a year. There was no solos. There was no binder, guys. It was rough back then. Don't think it was anything near what we got now. You know what I mean? On the good and positive sides of things, this game has come a long way, bros. It was a struggle back in the day. We had spiral notebooks, filled out. I had like 5 spiral notebooks filled from beginning to end of what was in sets, what the value was, the level caps on the auction house. You could only post cards for 300K, but you're getting millions back for, man, it was just a different ball game back in the day. Millions back from sets. You could only like pending collections. Anybody remember the words pending collections? You couldn't even just collect sets. You had to throw a card into a pending collection before you could even collect it. And it was 15 cards at a time or something ridiculous like that. So, you know, this game mode has come a long way as far as an old dog like me. So it's good to see some of the positive stuff. This year you got great content this year. It's just broken and hard to get. You have some of the best card art you've ever seen on these cards. Items. Sorry, they hate when I say cards. Items. So it's hard to see that the great stuff overshadowed by the technical difficulties of the game.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, that's like the worst part about a game is that like you just can't play the game, right? And so like there are issues where like they consciously design it to be like anti-player sometimes. There are other ones that like it's a problem and like it doesn't get discovered till after it goes live or whatever. But like when you were in like meetings and stuff, how often would like the business case like we gotta like suck them dry on this certain thing, like we can't give that's too general. Like I remember Madden 15 cornucopia packs, for example,
Yep. Yep.
probably one of the coolest packs of all time because it was expensive, but it gave you some like cool cards that you got. It gave you like programs from all across, and we've never gotten anything similar to that in the past. Like, why is it that EA has had these cool things in the past, like you said, like collections that gave out like coins, cornucopia pack, etc. Like, is that just because it's come so corporate? Like, the Economist is like, no, we can't do that anymore. You can't have fun. Like, why is there enough people, or is there no people at EA anymore that says, hey, this would be really fun? Is there too many people that are like, no, that would be unbalanced for the economy? Like, why can't they let us have fun like that anymore?
Yeah, for sure. And I see the chat, saying things like, "Hey, who cares about card art and whatnot?" If you follow me on Twitter, I'm a positive guy. I try to follow the positivity of some of these things sometimes. So I think that's one of the things that stands out and is good. So apologies on that. I know you're struggling with other things like real time and money in the
Don't,
game. So sorry I have to
yeah,
bring
don't worry
that to
about
the forefront.
card art. Card art is cool. Don't worry about that comment. Card art is I like it too. A lot of people like card art. It's important.
Yeah, no doubt. So I think it was a lot of wild, wild west back in the. If you played this game back in 2012, 2013, the market was in shambles. You know what I mean? It was every card played exactly the same. The only difference in ratings was like the height of the players. That's the only way you could discern between gameplay and things like that. But the market in particular and the millions that they gave out in coins, like I said, it was the wild wild west, and it sent it into crazy places. People were able to take big time advantage of really the people that I think they're worried about kind of leveling the play field for, new users versus people that are in there 12 hours a day grinding the market, being able to just, really take advantage of it. They had a like an economist on the team that started working some of these things out and taking a look at the market and how it worked and some of the changes and how it fluctuated the market. But I think that that's more to do with it. Of course, the revenue is in there. Hey, what's that's part of the ball game. What's the equation? What's the algebra problem that's going to meet the end answer? It went into there. The big market control was a thing added over the time. Of evolution of Ultimate Team. I don't think I was never really part of those. Hey, let's suck them dry. Let's make more money. This is our real money program. Like those weren't really part of the meetings that I was in. It was more of, hey, what are we going to put in the set? Hey, what was the last big promo champion? What would this champion look like? Things like that. And then I wasn't privy to the revenue side of stuff.
So how much so the revenue side of stuff, like how much would you say upper management almost so Madden Ultimate Team is underneath the Madden guy. I forgot who's the main Madden creative director right now.
It's like I still think it's just like a senior producer role. I think is what they would call it. I haven't been on LinkedIn to see what it is, but that's what that when I was there, I think it was senior producer was
And
the
that's in
in
charge
charge
of
of
Mutt or
Mutt.
Madden?
Yeah, correct.
Mutt. And then
Not
they
like a
go
Sean
into
Grady who overlooks
yeah.
over everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Grady was the one I was thinking of. So so the Mutt team feeds into him, and then whoever his boss is, that'd be upper management, obviously. How much do they have a say into what's happening in Mutt? Would you know?
Well, I
Whenever
think
that.
it's like any corporate company, like all that's projections come from, it's a publicly traded company. So they set these goals for the year and then it's down to the individual titles to hit those goals and that's I'm not sure how that level plays out and how that trickles down. I would think that there was specific people finance, as a whole team for the corporation looking at stuff and those algebra problems, you know what I mean? But I think only the highest level producers on mud are really looking at those equations.
So okay, that's interesting. So really, it's the Mutt team deciding what's going on in Mutt, what they're doing in Mutt, and everything. Okay, so when stuff like Little Jimmy happened, and that was Madden
Yep.
18, I believe. How much did that affect you? Because you guys, it feels like every year, almost the game gets greedier and greedier slightly. And in 18, it got to a point where it got so bad, especially with pack odds and everything. And then Toke started the Little Jimmy movement. A lot of
Yep.
people did that. How much? What can you explain what happened internally at EA with that?
Yeah, for sure. And it's like just to reiterate, I had very little to do with the revenue in that chain. Those are just my kind of guesses right there, just knowing who doesn't mess with it, right? And that's me and the people that I was directly working with right there. Yeah, so I think again that really goes back to the communication of the people that are on the front lines of social media and working with creators, working with influencers, being able to take that information back to the devs and convey how important that is because you know you look at Madden, you look at football, you look at American football, you look at EA. Madden is, I don't want to tell anybody something they don't want to hear in chat, but it's relatively small compared to, say, Battlefield, say FIFA, right? Like it's a small market comparatively to some of those
Well,
things.
Battlefield died though. Like that, I think right now it's Apex is their number two behind
Apex, yeah,
FIFA.
fair, very fair, absolutely, 100%. So it's really that trying to think how to say this. I'm trying to think how to say this here. It
I
was
mean, it's
really I was working. I didn't want to give myself too much credit at the end of the day. Here is what I'm going to do, but I'm going to have to avoid that. Like I was working with Toke, I was working with the devs, I was seeing what was going on. I didn't care what the money said. I was like, we got to fix this, right? So what we did was I went into the head guys, who's probably in the NBA guy. I really, it's like I'm not sure his name either. I had never worked with him before, but I basically sat down with a guy like that, walked into his office, closed the door, and said, "Hey, we got to fix this stuff. Mutt Rewards has to be good." At that time, Mutt Rewards was just abysmal. Everything we were given was barely anything. Pack odds were really bad, and I didn't come out until we had a plan of saying, "Hey, you know, Mutt Rewards were like tripled." Okay, we came out with a whole big plan of big names coming out because we hadn't come out with any big names up until that point. I was granted the power to do massive giveaway. It was like the the birth of giveaways, quote unquote, out there to help smooth things over, right? But at the end of the day, it was just more content, more rewards, better Mutt Rewards, and then we put little Jimmy on the set cover. Kind of just a shout out to the community on to shout out to Toke that we had heard things, if I remember correctly, that rest of the year the rewards were pretty good.
Yeah, it definitely got better after that point. I agree. So people who don't know what Little Jimmy, it was kind of like the version 1 of Pack Strike here, where like he's like, yeah, let's try something, because we've been like trying to communicate for so long about how bad it was up until that point, and it took quite a bit, and like trying to get the community together. So like these big groundswell moments only seem to happen every 5 years right now. But like, how much do you think like Pack Strike? Because we've seen a few things change with Pack Strike so far. How much do you think that has actually like filtered through, and how much does like things like this? I know you said you probably don't see the financials at their level, but like, how do you think it actually affects EA's bottom line for
Yeah, and
like?
kind of where I was going with that whole Battlefield and Apex, it's just and just the micro numbers, like just it making a blip on anybody's channel outside of the building, it would have to be huge, you know what I mean, for a call to come down, from like EA, the big EA, right? So, without I, I I don't think I don't think it's doing too much, to be honest with you. And I hate to tell anybody that in the chat, you know what I mean? But you really need somebody going to bat, and communicating with the dev team, with leadership. The social unrest is happening out there, and your best customers, your best, most loyal players, your best, most loyal creators, are unhappy with things. Things are not working, and then the communication has to be crispy coming back at you. So that's about it.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like. Well, yeah, a little bit at the higher ups too at EA, but you said like their internal goals and everything for each title, and they got to hit those goals. Like the upper management sets them, and like, do you think something like that would affect that, which would end up being like, hey, why were your numbers down this quarter, and that would change things. But like, I guess that's the first part of the question. Then I'll talk about the second part in a second. Like, how much you think the goals aren't being met? Do you think that? Do you think it
It has to
actually?
be huge. Absolutely. If the goals aren't being met, things are going to be done. But I'm just saying it has to really register for things to be done without also community team communications, influencers and devs all working together to then, make sure things are taken care of for that. It's got to be a group effort, that everybody had to be on board. At least that's what happened back then with me. That could be all going on behind the scenes, and somebody could be saying no right now. For all I know, you know what I mean? Can only speak on how I got things done, how things were done back then, and how we got change, how we got things to work, how we got you guys rewarded.
Yeah, because it definitely did change things. I feel like in both games, things have been changed due to the big community groundswell, both in 18 and 23. Here, we've seen much better toppers. But beyond that, like, why do you think Madden Mobile went downhill so fast? Didn't their community freak out just as well, or were they not able to band together to do stuff like this? Was it just kind of like here and there, creators were like upset and stuff, but they never actually organized, and that's why the game sucks right now.
Yeah. Did you say Madden Mobile?
Yeah, Madden Mobile.
Yeah, yeah. So I worked on Madden Mobile for the first few years. And speaking of hats, I did Madden Mobile as well for the first few years, and I did an NBA Live Ultimate Team for the first few years while I was there too. But that game it tested so many waters. I think it was kind of cooler for a couple of years. Tested waters that I think Ultimate Team was, I don't wouldn't say afraid to try, but just weren't willing to try. Some I mean, but it's kind of crazy as far as it's come over there. I've seen ratings like 135 ratings, and I haven't really followed the Madden Mobile story, so that's even kind of a surprise to me to tell for you to tell me that it's completely dead over there. I haven't even not even aware. So I just know that maybe some of those experiments that they tried that's not down with the community, but I know that they were willing to do a lot of crazy stuff over there. Also, I just heard like they closed down the auction house completely. Is that true? I got to ask you this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So like basically, you can't like sell cards to other people anymore. You can't buy packs with coins. I haven't played it in wherever, but like they take away everything that makes Madden Ultimate Team, and it's basically you buy packs from EA, and it's just basically $1,000 a week to keep up, and it's just whales versus whales because it's so terrible to play like free to play now.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we got away with a lot of stuff in those first few years on Ultimate Team when they weren't designing around. They're obviously aware of people having 5 accounts and playing, moving things, and you can see so many protective kind of things put up to kind of guard the house as it is. We had a lot of less stuff.
Yeah. So like
Like I said, it was the wild, wild west. So we're seeing a lot of, even leftover from remnants from protecting against stuff like that.
Yeah, but like, why would you? It feels like you're cutting off your nose to spite your face when you do things like, ban people. Like farmer counts are really just people that want to play their game more. Like they just want to put more hours into it
Oh,
and get the same
100.
rewards.
Yeah, that was you're saying exactly what I said, word for word, word for word. Yeah, for sure.
And they just didn't listen to you.
Yeah. That was the case a lot. That was the case a lot for sure.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, and it is what it is. It was a great time. I was headed on it at all.
Hang on, you're
I was
you're
proud
cutting out a
to
little
proud
bit.
to represent you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I don't
cutting
know.
out.
I was just 10-4 testing 1 2 1
Okay.
2. All right, there we go. So yeah, no, I'm grateful for my time there. I had a great time. See kind of things shaking out the way it is here recently, but I just hope things get better for you guys for sure.
Yeah. Dang, Discord's kind of letting us down with you cutting out. Do you have the app open or the Chrome?
I have the Chrome
Oh yeah,
open.
maybe that's one of the
Oh
reasons why
wait,
we're cutting out so
what
much.
is it? What do I have open? Could be. Let me try and you want me to try and get back on?
Do you want to open the app or something?
Yeah, let me try it.
Okay. All right. Someone's internet is booted. I think there's been issues with the Roboto. I think there's been issues with the just app versus the website. Goo, I can hear you.
All right.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it's crazy how much they while we wait for Goo to get back, how much they've killed Madden Mobile, and like they just don't seem to care about Madden Mobile at all. What's up,
Test.
Goo?
Any better?
Oh,
Any better?
yeah, better. We'll see if it keeps cutting out or not. Um, hopefully. So yeah, it's like it's unfortunate they feel like it feels like they want to get rid of a lot of the fun we have, and like I don't know. In the end, like yeah, sure, it's short term profit, but the long term like ability for your community to enjoy the game, I feels like more important. They just not really care about this game long term. They only care about the next quarter.
Yeah, no answers, man. I was always coming from the community, and I hope the people in those positions are still coming from that. I can't really put myself in the heads of the guys that are trying to get the revenue, coming up with those quarterly, you know, uh, goals and things like that. And the ones, like I said, with the heads of the team that were worried about that stuff, I wasn't really part of those meetings. It's a business. Obviously, they're going to try and get their money, but it's so important to take care of the community, especially like I said, the vocal end of it. You guys are out here putting it in so much work, and I hope they understand that. And I think some of that just gets disconnected as it goes up the ladder, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. It's just frustrating from our end to hear like the things that we need, like so many things that we've wanted in Mutt for years that they still haven't added. They change up and give us things that we don't want, like the reorganization of the sets did not need to happen this year. I would have preferred my audible saving for game to game or formation subs, things like Mutt practice mode, the things that we've been asking for so long. But instead they decided to just like make up their own mind and do these things that are different. Like why is there that disconnect? Why, like you said, sometimes they didn't listen. We got a lot of new people there. It feels like it's so awful when like the people that play this game know it more than anything else. Why is there that disconnect?
I think when the design one we were there, and when we brought Kralo on, and when I was already there, I was going to be the ultimate team community manager. He was going to be the gameplay and franchise manager, and just then with the way that the layoffs worked out, he ended up taking over most of that. But I don't know how separated all that stuff is anymore, and I think those need to be separate heads working on each of those things. Like, hey, we got to have somebody who's just in charge of getting Mutt solo, like head to head correct, or somebody just taking the field pass and making sure it works correctly. I think there might be just too many people, or not enough people working on this stuff, and one head probably just doing way too many things. That could be the case. It could be the separation of the building. Who's working from home, who's working in the building. All those things really could be a factor, man. It's tough to guess on for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Which
I just think they
really
need more more focused things. You need somebody working on playbooks. I don't know if they do, if they have a dedicated person working on that, but that's how intricate this stuff needs to be built out. And we know it, I know it, and it's just I don't know if that's the way it's being executed.
So why don't they just get more team members? I mean, they make $500 million a year off Mutt, I would assume, and another $1 billion off Fut. Why isn't it? Why don't they hire more people? What did you hear back in the day?
Yeah, that's tough to translate, man. Tough to get it. I was always trying to get resources, more money for events, more money for giveaways, more money for this. It's just the allocation stuff to get for any of that stuff, and that's just the case in any corporate America environment. Everybody always kind of needs more team members across the board, and sometimes that's not always the answer. I think that could be in this case, though. Who knows? They could have 100 people working on this stuff, and I just don't know it these days. Like I said, can only speak to while I was there. But that's a great question, man. You're asking me great questions that I just don't have the answer to, right? Obviously, the numbers are out there on the money from FIFA, and seems like a lot of, even while I was there, seems like a lot of easy answers that just aren't so easy, when you try to make them happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I understand that corporate America wants to keep as much cash as possible, but like, you guys, when you were there, expanded a ton revenue side, and like, it just blew up into like Ultimate Team modes, some of the biggest things in gaming. And so, like, when you
Yep.
see that, the fact that they don't reinvest those dollars back into it and hire a bunch of people, like, how many total people were there on Madden, including Ultimate Team, everything, for just Madden during your time there?
It was six floors of people. I don't remember those numbers. It was a lot of people.
Oh, okay. Well, how
All
big are each of the
building full.
floors? What's that?
Oh man, I hate to even talk and give numbers just because if I'm wrong, it's like it was definitely hundreds in the building. The building had multiple titles in it, though. You had multiple floors working on just Madden, and different floors working on different aspects of Madden, and hundreds of people on the staff.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they make so much money off it. So, like, it makes sense to have just huge, because they just recently moved into a new building, right?
Yeah, new in downtown Orlando.
Yeah.
Pretty posh.
So it's crazy
Looking
this
pretty
many people,
nice.
like, so is coding games just this tough that hundreds of people still bring out daily airs like the set today, so many, like the field passage, like, why does it feel like I don't see MLB The Show. Now they have like obviously freezes, they have their own problems, but like when they brought out their field pass a couple years back, they didn't have nearly these issues. Why does it feel like EA's got the sloppiest coding?
Man, it's a good question. I think it's a lot of could be old infrastructure, just could be old coding. Some of those games being introduced a little bit later. Having newer tech in there. Maybe they're just working on older tech in Madden. It's tough to say, man. I've never developed a game in my life. I don't know coding. My son's working on VR coding right now. He's about to graduate next month, and he's certainly way smarter than me. And it is, work is hard for sure. This stuff is not easy. So I was in community and communications for a reason. I definitely am not that smart. So, it's a lot that goes into it. It's hard to answer from a community side. It's like you say though, I'm a player. I'm a player. I look at this stuff and I'm looking at the game right now and looking at guys in jackets and these outfits in the crowd and stuff. I'm like, people don't wear this. This is not even close to what people look like, and this is 2022 on next gen consoles. And man, so I'm with you on this stuff, and I don't have answers, and I wish I did, but it's clear to me and you that you look at the show, you look at NBA Live, and man's got some catching up to do. And it's there's some obvious answers out there. Just in business, competition solves a lot of problems, and Madden just doesn't have much out there in the football space right now. So you'd love to see that to help them push some of this stuff forward.
Yeah, hopefully, like, obviously, were you playing Madden back in like the 2004, 2005 days? Back when they
Yeah,
had competition?
2004, 2005, 2006. I was playing a lot more, just the couch play over at the boys' house, having some beers, things like that. That was my involvement in Madden. I wasn't any like in any franchise online leagues or anything like that.
Yeah. As Duno says, when 2K introduced the Field Pass, it had issues too at the start. So I guess these two companies. So do you think like 2K and their football game, non-sim, and NCAA, even though it's made by EA, do you think those things will actually like put a fire under the ass of the Madden devs?
Well, I mean, NCAA, they're just competing with themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that's going to push it forward, but I'm really curious what this non-sim football title from 2K is going to be all about. I mean, fun factor is certainly you important, but depth is also super important to you guys and to me in this stuff. And it just can't be a shallow, just a stripped down yard experience and expect it to be a Madden competitor. You know what I mean? So I'm waiting for more info on that one for
Yeah,
sure.
talk about stripped down in the yard. It's like it's weird. EA's got these things going on, and maybe you can speak to it. I got a theory that like EA likes to put out these new modes, and then they do nothing to help maintain or improve it or do anything like that at all. Like, okay, for example, the yard came out. Have they done anything really with that impactful since? It could have been incredible. Instead, we got bots on the field. Our RPG elements are terrible. Like we then have like Superstar KO, and it was cool for a little bit, some changes, but they never
Yep.
really implemented on that. Same thing with draft. Now that's not being done. They had salary cap for a little bit. That went to the competitive team. Now the competitive team didn't
Yep.
do anything with that, so that's dead now. Like, why is it that like they launch these things and forget they ever existed?
Oh well, I'm a frustrated guy with you as far as like MUT squads. I was so excited for squads and the possibility of squads and what it could bring to the game. And it just not supported very much. And like you said, champions not supported very much. Well, then new things are introduced, and I think that's not just recently. I think that's kind of been the story, right? I hear it all the time, and I get to talk from what I hear from the community a lot of the ways, and that's like, these quote unquote modes that are taken away and then reintroduced as new later, right? You know what I mean? And I think it's, a lot of that stuff is true. And what you say is like, it's just not supported in at cost of seeing what's new. And a lot of that falls back on engagement. How much is how much are Madden players play in the mode, right? Like if nobody's playing it, it's such a double-edged sword. Like if it's not supported, it's not going to be played, right? Like, but if it's not played, it's not going to be supported. And I think that's like the death grip that you get in with some of these modes.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean like, hmm,
I mean, does that make sense? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because
So you
I
think
don't have the
like,
real answer. I can't sit here and say because here's the answer, we do it, and I can only guess with you. And engagement, I know, is very important. As far as how much support something gets with any business.
So, long shot. Okay. Um, that came
Yeah.
out.
Oh my God, don't get me going, dude. Don't get me going.
I kind of want.
Don't get me going
I
on
kind of want to get you going.
long shot. Oh my God. We could have had so much. Speaking of resources, like, I was not happy with the amount of stuff Longshot got. Like, just personally, like from player side, like I think that was to bring in a lot of new players, and I think a lot of stuff could have come to our side when we could have used a lot of more fixes on mud, a new mode on mud, a new, and it was at the cost of a kind of. I never played long shot, so yeah, not a fan, not a fan. Go ahead, what were you saying? Sorry to interrupt.
No, no. I kind of wanted to see it and hear you go off on
Ugh,
it because long shot
bro.
terrible. And the reason why like it kept getting done over and over because like the long shot's first year came out, and then I think Rex got like let go the next year or something like that. And then like the person who did long shot took over Madden or whatever. He's in charge of it. Now he's no longer in
Yeah,
charge
yeah,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then like so that's why I kept getting supported. So that's why like whenever you see long shots great, they kept doing it because that's where it came from. Like talk about lack of engagement. Like a lot of people booted up, and I'm like, well, does it
Yep.
sell games though, right? Because a lot of companies they misrepresent what's happening because like people click on it and check it out, but like yes. They could check it out, but they don't buy the game for that reason. So you're misattributing sales to something that is not doing anything for you. People just like look into it, they see what it is, like, oh, okay, but they're not going to buy the thing for long shot. They're not going to buy the game for long shot. So really, it's kind of like, oh yeah, people click on it and they kind of engage with it, but like, is it that much better than the other things they click on and check out? Like they click on and check out the yard for a little bit, but like, oh yeah, they didn't really put a lot of time in the yard because they didn't put this many hours into it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, except for long shot's terrible. It shouldn't be in the game. Like they should have
Yeah.
put all those resources into franchise mutt gameplay.
Well, yeah, you're asking why the hell long shot, right? Like, I mean, it's just it, and I think the basic idea of it, and it sounded corny even while you were saying but it's true, is they were trying to bring in new players. Like all the sentiment we got was, oh, my cousin, played Madden for the first time, has never played video games but played through it, right? And those kind of messages that were sent up the chain, and then it got support. They want your sister, playing Madden. They want your cousin that's never played it before logging in. So I mean, that was, I think, the goal with that. I think they tried it again for a second year, saw that it probably didn't bring him. Again, this isn't factual stuff I'm telling you. Probably saw that it didn't bring him new players, and they're like, okay, what can we bring? What else can we do to bring new players?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like it's whatever gets sent up and what like those one even though it's not like a majority feedback, I still like owe a little bit of feedback because my job's reliant on it. So like of course we're gonna broadcast it. Um, I don't know. Overall, like feels like one of the worst additions to Madden ever because like even other like first person storylines, like what was that one studio that did a bunch of great ones? They shut down and out of business because like it's not great. Like nobody plays Madden to watch like a fucking D- storyline and play on the rails and some stuff. Like they could have done this and could have used these resources for so many more engaging topics in this game.
I mean, 2K has already done it better. In NBA, you look at their creative player, you look at their my player. It's just all really done very well, and I think it's just too little, too late, and it just didn't get supported in the right way. Did I? Yeah, I certainly do. I want a cool mode like that in Madden and be able to, take myself through a story. I don't care about cold. I'd like to take myself through a cool story and
Yep.
through the ranks and through the high school story and then into the pros. Maybe not even as quarterback. Like, yeah, that makes me upset that it's just face the franchise just limited to quarterback. All those customizations that have already been out there for so long. It's tough to see Madden come in so late and then not even hit the bar being late. I think it just would take focus. It takes real concentration on one or two of those modes to make it really good instead of spreading itself thin or coming up with new game modes. But I'm no executive producer. Who am I? I'm sitting at home down here in South Florida. I went fishing yesterday, so what do I know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah. So people, chat said it's Telltale Games, and Telltale was the one I was thinking of, and they're out of business because like even somebody, chat's like saying, yeah, they had some great stories though, and Madden doesn't have those great stories, right? They like I always thought it'd be cool if they finally took a risk, if they made it like Alejandro Villanueva's like Marine experience before coming into the NFL, and like then you got like a little bit of a battlefield shooter going on before you actually go in and play Madden games and football games and stuff like, or like Rocky Bly or like some like ripped from the headline story where you actually take a chance. But no, this is the most generic thing ever. Oh, you didn't get drafted as high as you thought you were gonna go. Oh my God, the drama. This is so crazy. So yeah, I
Good. It
mean, it's
could
just
get crazy. Absolutely, man. That would be so much fun. And I think
yeah,
a lot of that, and I sit with these people and I heard some of these original designs. I think that's where the heart will like lied at the beginning, like that was the intention. I just think over years of quote unquote can't do that, can't do this, oh, can't do that, can't do that, kind of turned into what it was. Aspirations always start out big, you know what I mean? So I think it's just it's tough to see him not hit the mark because like you're saying, man, that would be so freaking cool to do that.
yeah. Oren, so how long does it take to create
I'm getting
content? Like,
fishing. I'm actually getting.
what's
Oh,
that?
sorry. I was gonna say I'm actually getting fishing questions in the chat. I'm impressed. I'm actually getting fishing questions, not just hey sell out EA questions. It's actual fishing ones coming through.
Yeah, because
So how long
that's
does
what
it
you're.
take to make content? I saw that question as well,
Yeah,
and I mean, sometimes it can be really quick. Sometimes it can take a really long time. These full fleshed out programs, they're working on for a long time. Some things were super reactionary. The retirement cards out obviously happen super quick. You know what I mean? And again, like man, I can only talk to when I was there. The relationship I had with Billy and Cassis. We'd be on the phone Sunday night talking about who team of the week would be. And whose performance was awesome. And I think even back then, man, I think we had those cards out Monday morning, if I'm not mistaken, if not Monday afternoon. But sometimes really quick it can be turned around if it's a small group effort making it and pushing it through, and then or it can take a long time for fully fleshed promo.
yeah, yeah. Because like it is strange because yeah, previously you guys came out Team of the Week Monday afternoons. Now it gets delayed even
I
on
think yeah,
Tuesday afternoon. What's that?
that's right. Yeah,
It even gets
yeah,
delayed on
that's right. It was
Tuesday.
Monday afternoon. The idea was to be able to get Monday Night Football in there. Gut Fox. I think that's what the what we originally moved it for, and I just think that they didn't go back having the cushion. That would be my guess.
Gotcha, gotcha. That makes sense. They like the extra day that they didn't have to come in early, right? Um,
A little sleep in, little, no big deal.
how sad were you when Most Beard didn't do
Yeah,
well
it's
as a
rough.
promo?
Those Sunday night games, man.
Man, they're late.
Oh, I'm so sad. I mean, to this day, it's either it depends on who you talk to. It's their favorite promo or the worst promo of all time was Most Beard.
I
So
remember there's a lot of hate for it.
they used that picture of me, bro. I had no control in the picture that they used for me. Everybody's like, dude, Guru looks like such a tool. I was like, I didn't want that picture to go on there. I swear to God.
You're only saying this in
I
retrospect. You wanted that the whole time until it backfired.
swear.
Uh huh.
It was like the mean mug. It was like the mean mug, like funny shot, and that's what they used. I don't know, man. There's some good players in that Most Beard. That Eric Weddle was pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. What's your favorite promo of all time then?
Man, like the first Ultimate Legends that came out, man. Like the very first year that they were doing Megatron Behind the Smoke and like freaking just man, who else was that year that was just so badass? The card art was just so badass. And it was the first time we had done Ultimate Legends. So it was like, how can we expand on the success of Legends? Legends was all the hotness back then, and it was kind of like the it did, and that's another program. It's like depends on who you talk to, man. They either love it or hate it. Oh, it's just a rerun of Legends, right? Well, I thought it was cool how they upped the ante. They were coming out with limiteds, and I got to name the boss. That was actually I got to coin the term Boss Legend. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm a big proponent of MUT season, keeping that MUT year going throughout the whole year, and that was a great way to keep things going. This year, I'll tell you, this year I love the AKA promo. I feel like it's the real Legends promo. I was talking to somebody about this on Twitter the other day. Like, I don't know if Legends should be called Legends anymore. Like, we're throwing around that title a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So it should be like Vintage maybe, and then because the AKAs are really, I mean, those are the legends, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you there. It's definitely been stretched without a doubt. So maybe vintage, but yeah, I like, yeah, like I don't really care that much about the legends versus like they're just like guys that were pretty decent during their career. And myself, 25 had UL. Oh, Typhoon says 25 had Ultimate Legends, blue background with stars and everything.
It could have been 25. I don't remember when the first year Ultimate Legends was.
But there were
Yeah,
some
all
sweet
these
ass
years
art.
melting together right now. I,
Yeah.
I love it. Chat saying they don't like AKA. It's a money spenders promo. Yeah, I mean it's not. When I say my favorite promo, I'm talking strictly name on the back.
Oh yeah, we're kind of losing you still. This is weird. Internet's an issue maybe. I don't know. Yeah, definitely some mixed opinions about AK in the chat
That's
without a doubt. How much you get? Well,
I think that's fun stuff. See, I'm looking at that fun stuff more than you guys, because I'm such a light player these days. And, again, I'm down here in Florida fishing and I'm trying to get a fishing business going. Like, I'm super high level these days. I don't play Madden Ultimate Team much. I sit in on the streams and whatnot. So, like that AKA, that's the flash for me right now. As far as users is concerned, right now, you guys are doing really good with the Team Diamonds right now. And the Team Diamonds is always like a community first promo. So I guess if maybe I was asked more specifically, what's your favorite community centric promo, it would be the Team Diamonds, which I think it harkens all the way back to 2012. If you remember 2013, the Ray Lewis set, which was one of the first sets that brought together, individual players from all the teams that you combined them together to get yourself then the master player from all the teams. It was like the original Team Diamonds set. So, I think I guess if I want to change my answer, it would be Team Diamonds.
Gotcha.
Zemo or we don't touch grass, MUTGuru.
You're touching water though, or probably
I'm
not. Probably
touching
don't even
water.
touch
Yeah.
water. Yeah. So like a lot of issues that have happened in Madden years past and Ultimate Team in years past, like what happened to over 100 stats? Like why has it been 6 years since we've seen those?
Yeah, I mean that's just a conscious decision by a couple people in the house that wanted to keep them under control, keep them low. And I guess I look over at Madden Mobile and the 135s and whatnot. I certainly don't think that's what you guys want. You know what I mean? But
No.
we had a lot of fun with the Dion. I remember what was it, Dion 105, I think was the what we capped out on one of the top ratings,
Yeah.
but it's just was a conscious decision by a couple of people to keep those under control, and it was kind of like just a line in the sand. You know what I mean? It was a line in the sand moment. Will they go back to that kind of thing? I think if the community would call enough for it, it would be one of those things that they consider, and the mechanics there for it.
How much do the devs then like lurk in the streams and watch YouTube videos in order to see a lot of issues?
Oh man, I don't know about those guys. You know that I was in your stream every single day though, in the building, over my
Were you
shoulder.
really?
They would come down and they go, "Oh yeah, every single day, absolutely, man." Oh yeah, I think I told you that Clint came down the one day. He's like, "Oh," and walked away. That was great. It was great. That was great. I think there's a lot of guys out there in the wild though. I think Mole is one that's out there in the wild a lot, and he's over on the dev side, and it's really cool his connection with obviously with the community, getting those that real time feedback from you going straight and being able to do something about it without any kind of connection, without any kind of email chain, without any kind of approvals and things like that. So I know he's out there in the wild listening to you guys. He was a
Mm-hmm.
good buddy of mine back in the day. I know it's great to see Field Ghoul out there helping out
Oh
everybody,
yeah.
communicating with everybody, taking care of those bands out there, which I got to tell you, being an ex community manager, it's definitely hard to see those bands go out, especially in an automatic fashion. It's clearly a trigger mechanism, something happening, right? And it's like, man, just unplug the broken robot until you fix it. You know what I mean? I mean, that's not hard,
Seems
so
weird. Did you have
Yeah,
like
Rob.
were there were there automatic bans back then, or were they had to get manually reviewed? Like, why aren't they manually reviewed now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they had a little of both, a little of everything. Then a social team. They had. I don't think the automatics were like today, man. Though it's tough to see those go out. You know what I mean? It's obvious. I'm not telling anybody any secrets here. You know what I mean? It's pretty obvious what's going on out there.
Yeah. So like, yeah, me and Clint, we started off so well with each other. He was on the podcast a couple times, hanging out, explaining gameplay stuff. And then where do you think Clint and I went so far apart?
I don't know. Again, I've been in your podcast. Okay. I've been in your stream before. So, uh, it could be the wild fox rants, maybe. I don't know. Could be my guess. That's just my wild guess, dude. I don't
Oh,
know.
wild. That's crazy. Um,
I don't know how much he watches and what's real about that, all that stuff. No, man.
yeah,
Too funny.
yeah. How come they fix the things that work in our favor, but everything else takes so long? Says Yuck Fu. But like, we kind of know that Yuck Fu. It's because they
Yeah,
hate us.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, they don't want us to loophole. Like you were saying about sets in Madden 12 and 13 and stuff that were awarding so many coins, but people were able to take advantage of it. Now we're just so much smarter with the market that we would like get an incredible amount of coins pretty quickly here. So like, I got a question. So at EA, when they fix things, sometimes they take and they ban people. Like, what is the line for when EA will just like write something off as like a loss with like a loophole versus like an exploit, and they coin wipe people or training wipe people like they did last year?
Yeah, I think those thresholds are pretty held pretty close to the vest that, I wouldn't wear that stuff either. What is a man that's banned today, or hey, we're gonna watch them offense. I tried to really like I even told Twitter, I really tried to keep myself out of that realm. You know what I mean? Because like I was telling you, dude, I was wearing so many hats back then. I was doing all of that stuff that we were talking about, and then to add the bands and to chase those down, we had a team back then that was very much like EA help doing that. And I kind of wanted to keep hands off because I didn't want any special treatment kind of stuff to come through. I had a lot of struggles with not doing that kind of stuff because I was trying to look at the community as a whole instead of favoritism here or there. And I'm sure it happens sometimes. Again, like I told you, I was trying to just figure things out as we went along. But that's about my best explanation.
No clue.
No clue. That's it. Exactly right. That's my long no clue answer.
Do traits matter? Like I don't know how much Guru is into gameplay as much as how much there, because like not even a lot of gameplay devs know about trait. If I recall, like there was a stream back in the day
I'm a
where somebody
menu
else
guy.
what's that?
I'm a big menu guy.
Yeah, where like some dev or something was on a stream. I feel like this was like 6 years ago or something, where the devs said something like they asked about a trade. They didn't even know if it was on MUT cards or whatever. Like, how much do you guys pay attention to like the meta or the traits and stuff when you're designing content? Like, how much you pay attention to the community, and what do those mean?
Yeah, I mean, we barely had that stuff on the items back when I was there. So it was just basically the stuff I was looking at to help the dev team out was, we had those chemistry combinations and traits, and it's, how many people do we have on each team with those traits, or how many guys did we just come out with those chemistries, and trying to balance that out. I was doing that certainly with the dev team, and that was going into those promos before they came out. So it was very thought upon while I was there, a couple months in advance for some of these big promos that I'm talking
Oh wow.
about. So, now I certainly can't answer, but that then it was very important. There's so many things been added to the game though since now, the archetypes, the abilities, the X factors, none of that stuff was there when I was there. There was none of
Yeah.
that in the
Yeah.
cards.
Some would say it's almost better back then when it was simpler without all these abilities that kind of break the game. I have a Well, what are your opinions on abilities? Better for the game or worse?
So they've grown on me over time. At first, I absolutely hated them. You know, I like you. I like the kind of just the simplistic. I was always on the fact like, hey, we need to simplify Mutt. Like it's pretty complicated for somebody to sit down, a new user to sit down and go through the flow and want to continue. It's pretty rough, man. There's a lot going on. So you know, adding those things without stellar explanation, without ridiculously clear blog posts, without it reiterated every day how they worked. I was frustrated with it because uh, it was too much. You know, it was just like couldn't figure it out. But as I've been figuring it out, as I've been figuring out the archetypes over the years, it's kind of a fun mechanic to play with. You know, it kind of breaks the mold a little bit. You know, we've been struggling forever getting legends to play with legends. God, I've been hearing that. You know, I was going to community events back in the day, and I think it's one way to separate them out, but it's kind of now getting muddled to where it's spread around so much. It's become, you know, when everything's special, nothing's special. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's my feeling.
I get you because I get yeah, I understand what you mean. Like Lawrence Taylor should be like play like Lawrence Taylor, but what happens when he's going against some of the best left tackles of all time? How does he play like Lawrence Taylor? Um, so um,
Without a doubt, it all kind of evens out in the end. There's still nobody like just shining. You know, there's still nobody else just jumping off the screen.
but now abilities to get that. Hey, do you guys nerf old cards when you bring out new cards at the same position or whatnot?
Yeah, I saw that question, and you know, I'm aware of it all. Like rating, kind of behind the scene ratings adjustments, definitely not privy to. And you know, and I know there are arranged things, change things up these days, like Vic's release. I guess apparently has changed. That's not confirmed. That's just, everybody feels that way. And I mean, obviously, some people time it out and really analyze that and say, yes, it's changed. You know, I wasn't don't know about any of that happening behind the scenes while I was there. You know what I mean? I mean, I really can't remember going, oh, this is bad. We got changed. The things that I remember is like Zadarius Smith being able to play at outside linebacker, D tackle, middle linebacker, outside linebacker, and everybody playing the same defense. And then, you know, big changes being made based off of things like that. You know, those are the things that I remember when I was there.
Oh yeah, because Zadarius Smith was like insane for months because like the overalls were way more fake back then. Wasn't even like an algorithm at that point, basically, because he was like a 94 at right end, but like in his position he was like an
Yeah.
86 or
Yeah.
something.
Got somebody went on vacation that week and he got juiced by accident. So that was like legendary too, because you didn't get any position penalties. You could run him at any position on defense. That was absurd.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it like so. Wait, was that serious? Somebody actually just went on vacation. It was an accident.
I'm pretty sure that's how it went down. My NDA's up, right? From Ben, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's actually hilarious.
Like, oh, whoops. Defense is ruined for the rest of the year.
So like somebody's asking, are the pack? You probably don't know this. Are packs juiced on certain days, or do certain accounts get juiced packs at all, or a certain time of the day?
Yeah, I'd always fight the juice packs. Remember back in the day, man, there was no such thing as juice packs when I was working there. You know, and it's you know, I don't know how any of that would work with the pack odds being published the way they. I don't know how they would manipulate that around the legalities of having the odds right in front of you like that. You know, so I think it would be extremely tough for them to do things like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would
Hey,
always be like, yeah, juice pack. I always get juice packs back in the day, though, man. That was one I always get that one.
yeah, yeah. Because randomness is hard to, I guess, decipher, and like, why does something good happen to them? And it seems like it happens more often than to me, which is obviously something that's inherent in our DNA. We got to find a common thread for things. I got So this
So
was
I
this
can't
was a good.
tell you how much I'm a part of that. I literally am a part of that, dude. Like I can't pull anything. I coined the term CPS disease. Can't pull shit. You know, back in 2013, 14, like I couldn't pull anything. And I swear, I have the same, tinfoil hat as everybody else. I change IPs, I'd move, and then my pack luck seems so much better. Oh my god, like I never pulled. or year by year, my pack luck's so good this year and things like that. I'm with you on all that stuff. And I used to have a rain dance. I would do a rain dance on my stream to get the luck going. So this year I've been back and forth. I got a couple good ones. I got mega out of an AKA pack. I got a limited in my team of the week make right all year. But
Nice.
I think it's very streaky. That's my analysis of the random card generator, is that it's very streaky and it can work for some people better than it does for others. I don't know what that's based on, but I
So,
definitely feel
so
that
you're
for
trying to
sure.
tell me that when creators say watch my YouTube videos when you're pulling pack for luck, they're not telling the truth?
Uh, I thought that was real. Are you sure? Because that's why I only sub to some people. Come on, I thought that was real. Yeah, I think that's fake.
Yeah.
I got the button here apparently too. Remember, I got the juice button here for
Oh,
while
that's
I'm
right.
watching streams. I get the juice your pack.
I'd
Remember?
I'd call you up. Yeah, I totally remember. I'd call you up and be like, "Yo, turn the knob for me." Hey, what do you think about what do you think about the why didn't Mutt ever go free to play?
I don't know. I think it's a great idea. Madden should segment off and be free by itself, right? I mean, it's a great idea. And why do I think it didn't? I don't know. They're happy with their current model. That's the answer. Otherwise, they would do it.
I don't need because
Seems like an automatic though would do well, doesn't it?
yeah, I mean, look what happened to friggin' Apex. Like Titanfall 2 died because you had to buy it, and Apex is one of the biggest things in the world because it's free. And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I'll pay a few more dollars here for
Madden
this."
players like regular players though. Apex, how much do they pay skins over there? And we look at skins, uniforms over here for 50K coins and go, nope. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So,
yeah. But we got like yeah, I mean packs themselves did sell a ton more packs. It was like any mobile game. It's always like more profitable to give away for free than
it's
charge
just
them for.
take the band-aid, man. It's like ripping off the band-aid. That's why they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Do players lose awareness when playing out of position? I don't know. Guru wouldn't know that, but generally, yes, they lose about 11% NFL bleach.
That's what it was. Just as a player, I felt that back in the day. I never confirmed it when I worked there, but I've definitely would feel that players lose awareness when playing out of position. In fact, I think it would show you the ratings loss when you would put them out of position back in the day.
Yeah, there's still a little bit of that in this game, but you never know what's. Some people used to run like formulas to figure it out with the ratings and what went down. It was very involved, but abilities matter more than anything now. People, you guys got to stop asking about gameplay stuff. He's MUTGuru, not Madden gameplay guru.
MUTGuru.
Menu, there it is. Oh,
MUTGuru.
so you're
Yeah,
still working.
I stopped playing gameplay back in like 13. I basically stopped playing the game. I mean, as far as like head to head competitively, like trying to beat everybody, like I would play, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games back then. Started working at EA and had like this super team that I was able to grant myself. Like I was only out there playing friends, and things like that. So it's eventually just trickled down into having a theme team and playing solos. That's what's left, Gut. It's just decimated over here.
Um, so like, how much do you think like that in the granting of cards to yourselves for EA employees, like, doesn't put them in our shoes as like we're the grinders. We're on like day to day. We have to grind up our own stuff. Like, how much do you
Yeah.
think that
Oh
affects?
yeah.
Because they don't understand. They're not in the trenches with us.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly. I'll speak for myself. It didn't affect me. I was in there still every single day, playing every single day, doing the solos every single day, logging in every morning. I was part of QA. You know what I mean? I certainly checked everything every single morning. Was on every single morning at 10:30 a.m. to made sure everything goes smoothly. And just being out and about with you guys and in the streams, I think can help you not out doing and grinding it every day. So I would suggest even that to people that are working in the building that aren't say grinding it every day. But I don't know who grants themselves stuff. I don't know who had what. To speak for myself, there, I had everybody. I'm gonna tell you that, for sure. But I came from where we grinded. I'm back to where we're grinding now, and I certainly, it didn't get me out of the mindset of being in the trenches with you guys for sure. I felt more in the trenches. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but like, how many people at EA right now do you think are like that?
yeah, no clue. I barely know is what doing where. I have no contact pretty much. I talk to I work with competitive because I work with Mudhead, and that's kind of focus over on Mudhead right now is competitive. So I have contact with them, and that's about it, man.
Hmm. So crazy. So like, yeah,
Just get
that's
back in
too.
there. Just on a personal note, had been trying to get back in here a couple positions recently, so was in contact with them for that. But nothing more than that.
Are you trying to get back in communications or like gameplay QA or like that part of it?
Oh, bro, it's rough to talk about because I've been trying for a long time to get back into anything, and it's just been a no every turn. So basically, I've come to the point where I stopped trying. This last one has been kind of all right, time to get the fishing business moving here. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, fishing is also a passion, so that's good of yours. Like, so you like taking people out fishing and stuff. I think that's what you told me last week.
Yeah, so it's been a crazy year, man. It's been this past year, been trying to get that off the ground and, run over by a car and everything. I don't know if you saw that, like almost died this year. So,
Seriously.
priorities and focus has certainly changed. Yeah. That was pretty crazy, man. 15 or
Yeah.
16 screws in my face right now.
Oh yeah.
Hit and
Yeah.
run, nothing on tape, nothing, so different perspective on life these days, and fishing is fitting into that timeline right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. That really sucks. Yeah. I did see that. Um, I'm sorry.
uh
Shoot.
Bro, I drug myself home. I can't remember, I was about a mile away from, can't remember getting myself home after getting hit by the car. I was on my bicycle.
Holy shit.
uh was in shock for about 8 hours before I'd let my wife take me to the emergency room. Yeah, it was messed up. The whole side of all the bones in my cheek, above my eye socket, all smashed. Doctor said if it was a couple inches high, I probably wouldn't be having the conversation. Losing a little sight
Wow.
in the right eye. Some teeth were pretty well smashed up. Getting that worked on right now, but pretty well through the recovery. Have a bunch of nerve damage. Couldn't feel half of my face 8 months, and that's starting to all come around now. So that was my Christmas present this year. Year before that was COVID. That was my Christmas present. So this Christmas, I'm going to be staying home and in a padded room.
Holy shit. That's terrible. Oh my god. Blessed to be here. Yeah. Been like wow. Well, yeah. I'm glad you are here though, because that's scary as hell. So wait, you say you wouldn't go to the emergency room for 8 hours?
Yeah, straight. I was in shock. I was just vomiting with a broken face, not letting my wife take me to the emergency room. It was awesome.
What? Why?
Just, I don't know, because I was in shock and an idiot and trying to be a tough guy. And yeah, my face is fine, crushed. I'll be okay. No big deal, bros. My teeth are all shattered. I'm fine. Leave me alone. I'll just sleep it off.
Oh my god.
Crazy. All her family's like, call an ambulance right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Dude, I'm
that.
sorry, my microphone's letting you down. Super frustrating. My bad.
Nah, it's all right. It happens. It's technology. Um, us men are stupid. Clearly.
Clearly.
Z350Z. We already kind of talked about that. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that the fishing business is going all right though, and that's working out well for you.
Yeah, man, doing that, and I'm obviously working for Mudhead as social media manager over there, so I got a like content calendar and plan for those guys, and then what else am I doing? I'm working on the Bernie Kosar YouTube for his podcast. I'm doing the YouTube version of Bernie's so that's pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah.
And what else am I doing? I'm managing Chad Ochocinco's Ultimate Team, so I'm doing that too. So that's cool.
Really? So what does that involve?
Yeah, he hit me up. He's like, "Dog, I need a good team." I'm like, "Give me the keys," and off we went.
Give me the keys and your credit card.
Yeah, I mean that's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
King of
So
Five Nine.
that's what I got going on right now.
Yeah. Good. 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 Well, it was great to have you on. Guru, love talking with you. Glad to hear you're doing better after the big accident.
Hey man, I appreciate you having me on. And again, big apologies to the chat that there was no big like secrets revealed today. There was very little EA bashing going on from me here. If that's what you came to see, my apologies to everybody else. Thanks for coming, man. It's good to see you guys, and it was good to be here.
All right. One last question. So why does EA suck?
Because man, it's not in the game. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. It's
not
interesting.
there.
It's
It's
interesting to hear a
not
little bit how
there.
the sausage was made.
Yeah, I wish I could give you more. I got the casing though. I know from the casing out. Well, they give me the meat. I wrap it in the casing and put it in the package and put it out. That was me. Once in a while, I'd go, "Hey, they don't like the way it tasted, guys. Got to change it." So that's what I did.
And then they wouldn't listen to you.
Yeah, sometimes more than others. Put
Yeah.
it that way. All right, my
All
guy.
right. Take it easy. Thanks. See you, Goo.
All right, then.
Peace. All right. That is it for the Muttmen podcast number 185.